Hello, everyone. Welcome to Random Encounter 324-324. My name is Jono Logan, and you know what? We're just going to jump right in because this week has been, to say it's packed for news is putting it mildly. Next Monday, we're actually going to have another episode of Random Encounter. We're not going to be skipping a week. We're going to be doing another one because in that episode, we're going to be chatting in more detail about the Switch 2 because I think that it's nice to give the people on staff who have Switch 2s a couple of days to actually play their games because there was no advanced codes or anything went out. So yeah, next week we're going to be talking about the Switch 2, but today is going to be all about Summer Games Fest 2025. And joining me today, we have an all-star cast. We have Mike.
Am I an all-star? Thank you.
You are an all-star. You have like what was Gretzky's 99 right on your back there.
You're like the Toriel of RPG fan.
Yeah, exactly. Steph is also here.
Hello.
Gio.
Hey.
And we have Zach.
Decidedly not an all-star.
You're not an all-star? You're not going to,
no.
What's the line? Put your game on or something? Anyway. Yeah, it was Summer Games Fest this weekend. As per usual, we're recording this on Sunday night, so I'm going to do a quick edit to get this turned around so it goes out on Monday morning. So everything we talk about right now is going to be kind of our raw reactions. Unfortunately, the raw reaction by the last day of Summer Games Fest is usually just drool coming out of the side of your mouth because you've been overwhelmed by all of the game trailers.
That Black Ops looked like something.
It looks great. I can't wait to have an RPG fan official review of that one because that is right in our coverage there. It looked like it at the start. We'll cover that in a minute. So general thoughts about this year's show from me, and then I'll ask everyone else. The internet is quite pissed off about this year's show, but the internet's pissed off about literally everything all the time. Like a lot of people were angry at Jeff for like the Summer Games Fest and like, oh, there's no good like reveals or anything. And it's like, well, yeah, sorry. Extraction shooters are kind of like basically in terms of like AAA, there's extraction shooters. In terms of indie, there are farm sims. That's basically like 90% of the
and
stuff coming out.
Lots of Souls-likes.
Lots of Souls-likes. You can tell what was popular 4 years ago.
Yeah. Yes,
by
very
what comes
much.
out now. But like, I didn't think it was actually a bad presentation. And like some of the other shows weren't terrible. I think for me personally, I mean, there were some missteps. There's a bit of a controversy about the narrative being like small teams are making better games. And it's like, well,
one developer and 50 other of his friends.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Yeah, exactly. It's really annoying. But on the whole, like I don't think it's been a bad Summer Games Fest. I think the problem is, at least for me, I might be wrong because I've been sitting here for the last couple of days desperately trying to summon up enthusiasm. I just don't think anyone can care because I think everyone's just so frigging burnt out about everything right now. There's so much going on that when something comes along that really requires attention or should be exciting, there's kind of a cloud over it, at least for me. And that's kind of how I felt the entire time of this Summer Games Fest. I was like, I should be more excited about some of these game announcements than I am.
I mean, knowing that there were ice raids going on in LA at the time of Summer Games Fest, I'm sorry, I don't have to get political, but like, I'm like, I just can't, I can't engage the same way.
No kidding. And now that the LAPD got involved and apparently Trump sent the national, like, it's like, oh my God, the fabric of the country is falling apart. But hey, look, Black Ops, that's on brand, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to give my thoughts very briefly here, I guess, it's one of those things. I think I can't remember if you said this pre-show or just now, but you said like 90% of them were like extraction shooters or like farming sims. And you want to know like two genres I don't care about at all. Extraction shooters and farming sims. I think if I'd done a shot every time someone was wearing a space helmet during these, I would have been dead.
They really blended together by the end. It was crazy.
Yeah. There were things I liked about the show. I think that there were some reveals that I really enjoyed, but even the Xbox showcase, which I thought was probably the strongest of the major shows, it just seems to like everything just seems to like sort of be bifurcated, like AAA sameness and sort of like some interesting indie stuff, but like really like sort of niche and very specific in ways that don't necessarily appeal to me. And so like, to me, I'm like looking for something in the middle that I can sort of latch myself onto. And even thinking about the things that I know were actually like at the show itself. Like I was like, last year I was there and I played so many amazing games. I look at what Mario, who I know is on the ground there right now, and I'm like, I wouldn't have cared about any of that. So I don't know. I thought it was a pretty weak offering personally.
Any other thoughts?
Um, there's actually quite a few non-RPGs that I think I'm pretty darn interested in, but I actually thought it was a pretty okay show. I mean, no giant headliner. I think the Marvel Tokon kind of really took the air out of the room, especially for a lot of the other fighting games, but I thought it was actually a pretty good show. I get that it's not huge, and even Persona 4 really didn't have much to show. But no, I actually thought it was pretty cool. There's some interesting titles. It was fun watching it with on stream with Scott.
Yeah, I started up pretty excited for this for like the whole weekend. Like I feel like it kind of peaked with the Sony event, and progressively I got less and less excited as the weekend went on. But yeah, in the end, it wasn't that bad. Like there were worse summer game fests. It's just that, yeah, I mean, you guys are right. Like there's so much going on in the world that it's kind of put a damper on the whole thing. So.
For me,
yeah.
I reached the point of exhaustion that I usually reach on Sunday night by Friday evening. Like it was a lot.
Yeah.
And you're right. I think that probably one of the strongest things was Sony's State of Play. Also, is it weird to anybody else that the entirety of the gaming industry seems to be desperately trying to avoid the elephant in the room, which is the Nintendo Switch 2 dropped on Thursday and nobody mentioned it once the entire frigging Summer Games Fest? Like it got one mention in Summer Games Fest, and that was because CD Projekt Red desperately needed something to say.
Were we hoping like they would announce something maybe too? Because yeah, they've just been kind of radio silent. I guess there's going to be a Switch, Nintendo Direct soon.
I mean, theoretically, I don't know, but I just thought it was weird that like nobody mentioned that this massive piece of hardware dropped the day before Summer Games Fest the entire time. It was odd.
Well, that'd be bad business for PlayStation and the Xbox showcase.
I don't know about that because I don't know if you've heard, Steph, but the Xbox is everything. Everything is an Xbox. The Switch 2, Xbox.
That's true. Yeah, I expected to see more games. Like when you get to the end of the trailer, it's like, oh, this is on these platforms. I thought more would suddenly have a Switch 2 logo, but not yet. I mean, I even saw some things that are coming to Switch 1. But yeah,
which is a little odd.
Overall, I think it's been fine. Maybe not my favorite year. There's at least been some good highlights. I can't believe I'm saying this because I normally wouldn't, but I think the State of Play was maybe my favorite one overall so far. They've really gotten better about those because State of Play used to be something I was just like.
I think Xbox is my favorite.
I'd put something else on in the background or whatever, but
I don't know the VR, so the old ones would have been irrelevant.
I know this joke is pretty old at this point, but State of Play is like Nintendo Direct at home.
Yeah.
Or at least it used to be.
But at least every showcase had at least a couple good things, which when you get to things like the PC gaming show that was how many hours long, a couple good
2
things.
2 hours and 47 minutes this time.
Yeah,
which is shorter than it usually is.
That's true. Not that was one of their better ones, but I don't know. I feel like having the longest one at the very end of the weekend is just a lot. But at least we're going to be talking about some cool games today.
Yeah. So everyone listening, we're going to, of course, be paying attention to games that are primarily in our coverage because there was such a fire hose of games that there are a lot of games in our coverage. So we probably won't be mentioning some of your favorites or some of the big announcements or talking about them anyway. I might mention them, but so let's go right in. So it's Thursday. We have Sony State of Play and we have Bloodstained: The Scarlet Engagement. So this is going to be released in 2026 and it is a prequel actually to Bloodstained: Ritual of the Night. Igarashi a few years ago did a very famous Kickstarter for Bloodstained: Ritual of the Night to follow up on Symphony of the Night, Castlevania, and it was going to be like a return to form. And very famously, they got a lot of criticism, and then there was this great video where he throws the goblet down and says, "No, I must." And then the final product, I really enjoyed it. I really liked Ritual of the Night. So hearing that there's going to be a sequel or a prequel is awesome, and it's going to have some new mechanics. It's going to have like a buddy system because there are 2 new protagonists. There's going to be crafting involved.
Bloodstained Portrait of Ruin, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, that's where I'm thinking I'm going. And to be honest, like, hey, if you want to ape from the handheld Castlevania games, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, totally fine with that. But like, it looks good. It looks pretty much identical to its predecessor. But like, fair enough, fine, good.
Yeah, I think the 2 protagonist thing could be fun. I don't think I missed if you can do it co-op or if it's just you just control one person controls 2. But either way, it looks neat. I enjoyed Bloodstained a lot. Like I enjoyed it enough. I got it on Switch and at launch, it ran so bad on Switch. It's one of the worst experiences I've ever had on the Switch.
And that was a long time ago.
I know. But I played through it to the end. I'm like, I'm sure they'll update this, but I liked it enough that I just kept going. And I haven't played it since they made it, I guess, better. So that's my thoughts on that one.
Can I just say that one of the things I'm most excited about from this week is that I hopefully will never need to say the words, how does it run on the Switch again?
You don't have to say, how does it run on the Switch 2 in 4 years? That's the way it's going to go.
Yeah, we're 4 or 5 years, then we're going to be there. But we're going to have a little break. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it looks good. I mean, Ritual of the Night was an interesting game because I felt like in many ways it kind of ignored every innovation in Metroidvanias since the Game Boy and DS games came out, which, fair enough, it felt very much like a throwback, but it was a throwback that I loved because I loved those games. So, okay. So it'll be interesting to see if they push it forward with this one.
Yeah,
They did a great job, like, making it more visually distinct from Castlevania this time around. Like, I didn't, like, when the trailer first showed, like, I wasn't, like, sure what it was. So
yeah, it took me probably a good like minute and a half to be like, oh, that's Bloodstained. It kind of looks like Castlevania. Is it another Castlevania? But yeah, I agree with Gio.
Oh, it is Castlevania, sort of.
It basically
Yeah.
is.
It's Portrait of Ruin.
And it's a Portrait of Ruin.
Alex and Leo.
Let's pivot to our first actual RPG of the show, which is Digimon Story Time Stranger. I'm going to reveal my hand here and say I know nothing about Digimon. I've never played it. I never watched it, and I don't care. I'm excited for people who do. I'm excited for people who do. It's it's an RPG, monster taming elements. They're turn-based strategic battles.
Good.
Okay, it does look pretty good. I admit, like I was totally into it. I was like, oh, this looks Digimon.
No, I like how it's playing like the whole like real world and digital aspect. And it has like a few kind of funky art styles going into it too. Like there's a few sections that look a little strange. Some of the videos they've been uploading of it too just look really in depth. I don't know. I think this one's gonna be pretty big deal. I am excited. Sorry, I'm trying not to say too much. I am trying to go in blind into it too.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
We're not going to spoil it for you.
But no, like, yeah, the clips that I've seen of it so far, like what little I've been skimming through looks really impressive. It's great that Digimon still has this kind of pull. Like they're kind of secretly pretty good games sometimes.
I like what you said about the art styles because I thought that too. Like at the beginning of that trailer, I would not have guessed it was Digimon. I'm like, this is pretty dark. And then the logo came up and I'm like, okay.
Just overall, it's been great to see devs playing with more different art styles. Like, have you noticed the rise of like puppet looking games lately and all that? And like that kind of paper mache look?
I feel like that was one of the themes of the shows.
Yeah.
There was more than one puppet game.
Puppets and felt and cardboard cutouts and stop motion. Yeah.
Honestly, probably my favorite trend of the shows, to be honest with you.
I'll be okay with that. Yeah.
Honestly,
I'm glad that
every
we're going
single
to
one of them is
style.
just a bribe for Jeff, really. Please cover us. Yeah, I mean, I would actually like to see. I know that Digimon is completely separate and distinct from Pokemon.
You didn't watch Fox Kids Digimon at all? Like, come on. You didn't grow up with that?
I was at an age when I Pokemon hit, and then I was like, Digimon, that seems like a ripoff. And I have to admit, I have never been able to get over that. And to be frank, I've never put any effort into getting over that, so I can't really speak to it. But I have to admit, watching this trailer, I was like, I kind of wish that Pokemon would push things in an interesting direction like this particular franchise is. It seems like they're going places that are different, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and like later on, we'll see like Game Freak show something that's like a lot better looking visually than Pokemon.
I can't even believe that.
I was like,
what? They've been doing like anime Pokemon characters for so long. They're like, okay, just something new,
Game
please.
looks legitimately good.
Yeah. Besides that frame rate, but yes.
Where was this effort in the past?
Yeah.
But it looks fine. Okay, let's move on to something that I and everybody else, including Zach, is tremendously excited about. Actually, Zach, do you want to take this? Just you can take this.
You want me to talk about Final Fantasy Tactics? I can do that.
I'll give you a treat.
Can you do that?
I appreciate
Will
that.
you be okay?
I mean, it's so obviously the Final Fantasy Tactics reveal. Like, I think that I kind of wish that in like the day leading up to it, it didn't just become like very clear it was going to happen. Because otherwise, I would have liked to show more. I think because it would have been a nice surprise. Instead, I was like, oh, I knew that was going to happen.
I love surprises. Yeah, I hate there's always an emphasis on leaks, man.
Yeah.
I love the surprise.
Yeah, I like the surprise too. But
I love making the stupid face at the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know that like Tactics has been remade into the War of the Lions version, and I'm guessing that this is not going to be as what I'm really hoping, and maybe some of you can tell me that I'm wrong here. Like, that we don't know if they're going to maintain the extra content from War of the Lions. I'm pretty sure based on
That
what
one
we've
I don't think we
seen,
know, right?
that that they're maintaining the localization, which is very important to me because that War of the Lions localization is
Huge,
just phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, I think that it looks like they're not adding a ton to it, except for just like there's like a speed up that they're adding to it. But like Final Fantasy Tactics is probably my second most replayed game. I've played on iOS like 3 times. I played on my PSP like 4 times. It's like the only thing I played on PSP. I played the original one. So like but I am still just so jazzed every time to replay this. The storytelling is still, I think, the peak of Final Fantasy. It's what sort of taught me what strategy RPGs are. It's so fun to play around with. I'm really curious if they're going to mess around with balancing, if they're not going to make like an Act 4 character basically able to solo everything with no effort. I won't name the name, so no spoilers, those of you who haven't played. So I'm really curious to see, because I know with Tactics Ogre, they adjusted balancing in some ways that I think was needed in that game. So I'm not sure if they're going to do that here, because I think that's going to upset some people, because some people are very attached to the way this game is balanced. But regardless, like, I'm just excited to see it finally after that NVIDIA leak, feels like 10,000 years ago, to see it. And it looks great, I think.
It'll be interesting to see if the classic, like what you said about rebalancing the game, if the classic version has like the original balance and the optimized version has the new one. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Just one more game left on that NVIDIA leak. I'll say nothing more.
When are we going to get that? Yeah, I mean, it's a brilliant game. It was a massive game. It was released around the same time of 7, so it obviously benefited from that, even though it didn't have the same polygonal impact, shall we say? Although it has certainly aged. The look of it has aged considerably better than 7, as most pixel art has. Yeah, and this game kind of influenced every single thing that came after it to this day. Like half of the SRPGs that were announced this weekend owe everything to Tactics. And I am pretty excited to see how they update it. And you know what? I actually think Square Enix has been, whenever they do a remaster, remake, whatever, of their classic games, they don't usually carry over the extra content that was in follow-ups. Like all of the Pixel remasters, none of them have any of the extra content that came from the Game Boy Advanced versions.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting, because I know we've seen a screenshot of this version that shows like a job tree, and I guess some of the new people have looked at the silhouettes, and it seems like some of the new stuff from War of the Lions is not on there, but that doesn't mean it's not in the game at all.
On one hand, I'm sad we lose Phil Lamar, but I am happy we get Cody and Brianna reprising their roles.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for Cloud and Aerith.
Yeah. And I don't want to spoil anything,
cute.
but I'm very excited to hear Ben Starr in the role of Daisadarg. He's a brother of the main character, and his character arc goes some places, and I'm really curious to see how Ben Starr goes with that. I think it'll be like a good way for him to do something a little different.
Yeah.
Fully voiced, and there's going to be both English and Japanese versions.
He would probably do a good villain voice.
Yeah. I would look at some comparisons too, because I saw the thing. I was watching the showcase. I'm like, yeah, okay, that looks like Tactics. It looks nice. But I actually stopped for a minute and looked at an original screenshot and a new one, and it's more extensive than I expected. It's one of those things that it looks the way you think the old one looks in some screenshots. No? So look at some of the backgrounds.
I really don't like it. I'm going to be that person visually.
Okay.
I think it is such a bummer. They put way more effort into stuff like Legend of Mana and like the Saga Frontier 2. I don't know. I thought they could do better.
A decision,
and especially
was
when
made.
they flashed the Studio 3 or whatever. I forgot the
Creative Business Unit 3.
Business Unit 3. When they flashed that, I was expecting a little bit more. Like at this point, I think Final Fantasy 12 Revenant Wings had cooler looking backgrounds.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah.
I adore
really
Creative
down on
Business
it.
Unit 3. Just the name it takes the piss out of itself. It's so
It
good.
really does. I know. Creative Unit Business 3. Nah. Yeah. We're not even getting remastered music. Like, I'm sad we're not even getting like the bass escape treatment of the Tactics soundtrack. Or maybe if we don't know yet.
Yeah, I'll admit that I think that the original soundtrack is perfect, so I'm good with it as it is.
Yeah.
I am too, but I wouldn't have mind just to hear what like bass escape would do with it nowadays.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, for sure.
Because when they redid some of the Odin Sphere tracks, like they were phenomenal.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be the kind of poo-poo on that one. Sorry.
Okay, well, this is an old game, and I mean, it's obviously a beloved game, but there were some new games announced in State of Play, and the one that was the most interesting for us, I think, in terms of just RPGs, was Sea of Remnants. At least it was to me. It looks like a brand new franchise. It
looks so good.
Yeah, it's a turn-based combat squad building, 300 recruitable companions. You can impact a pirate city, customizable home base, like Suikoden, anyone. Sounds good to me, and the visuals look really, really cool too. I think it looks like a great first look at this. I really, really hope that it lives up to that.
I know it lost people when they said free to play, though. I was like, oh,
yeah. Myself included.
Can't win them all.
Yeah, that's a concern. I do like the way everything else sounds and looks, though. Like the art style is really cool. So
yeah,
I'm hoping
so much.
I'm hoping it overcomes that free to play part.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those free to play games that's like trying a bit of everything. You know, polioverse. Like it's like if I remember, I was confused because like it was like advertising that it has like turn based combat and also has action combat. So I'm like, you know, it's like, and then there's like life sim stuff. Like you can like make a home base or something, and yeah, it's just there's so much. I'm very curious to see if it all comes together.
Or you can't do everything.
Yeah, I guess that is a concern, because if you're trying to like cast that wide of a net with that many different play styles, like do you have time to polish all of them?
Yes, and I mean the one thing about free to play is that usually development continues after the game is released. So if there are things that aren't really fantastic, they usually can continue to develop them. Mind you, I'm saying this, and I don't play free to play games, so
it's such a tug of war to it's so much to play with.
Yeah. There were some other big games that were announced in State of Play, but they weren't in our coverage. I'll just mention them real quick. We finally got a look at the IO's 007 game, which looks a fair bit like Hitman, which I think is amazing. I really can't wait to watch Outside Xbox play this because their Hitman videos are amazing. Marvel Token, is it Tokon? Fighting Souls. Tokon. There's a new Marvel fighting game that's set in Japan, and it looks ridiculous. It
looks so good. That gave me that whole like face moment. That like
I'm not even a fighting game fan, and I was like, wow, this is really cool.
We have a game that really caught my attention was Romeo is a Dead Man. It just looks, it's ultra violent. It's really interesting art styles all over the place. I think it looked really neat.
Was it the back of the jacket talks to him? Yeah, suited can do no wrong. And to have like the back of your jacket talking to you is so clever, since that's what you're usually facing.
Oh yeah, that was so cool.
Yeah.
And the last one I'll mention is Silent Hill F, which is set in the 1960s. I think it looks like Japan years ago, and it's Silent Hill. It looks like Silent Hill. It's creepy as fuck. So I'm kind of excited about that. I don't play Silent Hill. I will not play it, but I'm excited for other people.
It's great to see Silent Hill kind of coming back.
Yeah. And it's interesting because this is like vaguely RPG related, because like the author is like the guy who did Umineko, like those visual novels. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That'll be like awful, but in a good way for the story. You could use that kind of talent.
All right, let's move on to the next show, which was the big show, which was Summer Games Fest. Like I said, there were some somewhat underwhelming stuff in this, but we'll talk about some of this. So the first one of the first things that's in our coverage is Mortal Shell 2. It's a direct sequel to the 2020 Souls-like action RPG, which I don't think we covered.
A little bit.
We did a bit.
It's very grim. I don't think we reviewed it. It's very grim. It's very brutal.
It looks cool. Definitely has a bit of that kind of fancy gothic fantasy Elden Ring kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, I think a lot of games from this show especially did, but like it was early enough in the show that I wasn't tired of it yet. So like I was like, ooh, this is like I appreciate that you're just going all the way with some like absolute horrible grunge music, and just like making this as metal as possible. I looked at Alana and I'm like, I think I want to play this, and she's like, of course you do. So like I'm kind of curious about this one, but only because it didn't. I wasn't exhausted because this was early in the show.
I kind of feel that eventually there is going to be like a roguelike, Souls-like extraction shooter. They're just going to throw everything into the same, all of it into the same, and it's going to be terrible, probably. And we will mock it. We will mock it because there was a fair bit of mockable things here.
Rightfully, justly, morally.
Yeah, justfully.
It's one of those games that, like, I think it looks good. It looks fine. It just whether or not there were a ton of other ones that in the same, a very, very similar visual style, I'm just like, I know this is like kind of a lazy thing to say, but I want to see them look a little different. Like when that trailer started, I was like, well, I guess this could be something about like related to Bloodborne. Like people want that sequel or a remaster or something. It's just they're just so many of them just start to look the same, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I know people love Souls-likes, and that's fine. Like, but like the gameplay doesn't have to have this, be married to the same look each time. If you want to do the gameplay, sure, but do something different. Yeah. Like another, I don't know how good another Crab's Treasure is, but like visually, there's no other Souls-like it.
I wouldn't know because I would never freaking play it. But because I'm scared of crabs. But first Berserker Kazan is like a little like anime like. I feel like, but even there, like it's like dark anime styling. You know what I mean? So I agree with you.
Let's move on now to actually, I think the only shadow drop of the entire, at least the only shadow drop I care about from the entire weekend, which was Lies of P Overture. So this is technically it's DLC, but it's actually an expansion and it's standalone. So if you haven't actually played the original, you can probably play this. I don't know why you would, but like if you like Lies of P, we reviewed Lies of P. I think did Jerry review?
Noah.
Yes, he did. It was Noah. Noah gave it an 88 last year, and it's probably one of the most prolifically interesting Souls-likes over the last couple of years that kind of try to do its own thing visually.
Now it's going to be one of the more accessible ones with an easy mode.
Mm-hmm. I think I thought Lies of P looks gorgeous, and this also looks gorgeous. It's Pinocchio essentially. What if Pinocchio was a Souls-like?
Yeah, I've only played the first few hours of Lies of P, and it is beautiful. But also
Pinocchio tells a lie and he stabs you with his nose, growing.
It also, has the same problem I think a lot of Souls-likes do, in that it is just like brutally difficult without any real way around it. Whereas actual Soulsborne games have ways around it. But it's a game that as soon as I'm done with stuff I'm playing right now, I'm planning to go play it because the parry system is really interesting in it, and a lot of people I respect think the base game is amazing. So I think that, and I think I saw online like some people, of course, have already finished it. Like, oh, it's like 40 hours. So I'm like, okay, you're going to charge like $30 for an expansion that's $40. They're 40 hours long. Cool. So yeah, it has some Shadow of the Erdtree vibes in terms of the breadth of it to me.
I know it's not based on this, but I would actually like to see more Souls-like based on classic Disney animated movies. I think that could actually be a pretty funny way for a lot of companies to go, like have a Dumbo Souls-like or something.
What?
A Bambi Souls-like would be hilarious.
Bambi. Okay.
Like if you have the revenge subplot right there.
Yeah, right.
It's just Bambi rampaging through the forest, killing every like giant hunter boss.
They do a collab with Cabela's hunting challenge.
Okay, let's move on now. We are moving on. We are moving on to some sci-fi. Finally, we're moving on to Code Vein 2. So Code Vein 1 came out a few years ago. I think it was pre-pandemic actually.
2019. Yeah.
There's a lot of sequels this year. Like a lot of part 2s were announced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Code Vein has gotten some. There's been some stuff since, but we gave it an 84 back then. And yeah, it's anime like Souls-like post-apocalyptic world because. It's post-apocalyptic worlds are starting to feel like, I don't know, we're there already. Yeah, it's losing its novelty.
Watch Coast games become the next Call of Duties, okay?
Spot. Yeah, so it has, the usual strategic combat, explorable environments, big boss battles, and it's a Souls-like because that's what we do now. Again, honestly, no real interest in playing this. It never really spoke to me, but I think that's just my taste in video, in like the aesthetics. It's not quite where I live. Is anyone else excited about this?
No, I was like really hoping this was like Scarlet Nexus too.
Yeah, so was I.
Yeah.
we knew there was going to be like a Bandai action RPG. Like my last choice would have been Code Vein too. Scarlet Nexus, Tales, all would have been way better than this.
Yeah, I knew it was supposed to be something like set in the future. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe that sounds like it would be Scarlet Nexus. But I forgot that Code Vein existed. So
you're not missing much.
As did many.
So maybe a chance for like a redemption arc. Maybe they got like, it takes a part 2 to really refine the ideas.
Yeah.
Let's see. Optimism.
Well, let's move on to what actually was a genuine surprise to me and everyone an RPG fan, which was they announced Atomic Heart 2. Now, Atomic Heart 1 got released 2 years ago. People were referring to it as kind of like a Russian BioShock. It was set in an alternate history in the Soviet Union where they had this insane level of technology, and it looked really, really cool. I've never played it. Definitely wasn't in our coverage, but then they announced this, and it is it's going to be an action adventure RPG with heavy emphasis on story. There's going to be role playing elements, player freedom. It's going to be a global scale game. It's not just going to take place in the alternate Soviet Union. And I think what kind of made me go, what? It was described as a spiritual sequel to itself, which was like, I don't know if that's how spiritual sequels work, guys.
No, that's kind of odd. Yeah.
I guess that every Final Fantasy is a spiritual sequel to the one that came before it, technically.
There you go. Now you get it.
Yeah, but I loved the aesthetics of Atomic Heart. I've never played it because it's not really first-person shooters. I like them, but I don't love them. But looking at this, I'm like, oh, it has the aesthetics of the previous one, and it's an RPG. Sold. I'm in.
Yeah,
I think it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it looks cool. Like I didn't play the first one, so I don't have a lot of context, but I was surprised when they said that it's going to lean more on RPG stuff.
Let's move on to what this was my Final Fantasy Tactics excitement level in the entire weekend, which was we got more information about Project Century, which was RGG Studios' new game, which may or may not be related to Like a Dragon. Because it looks like Sonobori, a lot like Sonobori, but then again, it could be is it Donobori? It could be the actual historical neighborhood. But
I would be shocked if it doesn't take place in the same universe. Like totally shocked.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So this is like Yakuza -1, I guess. It's set in 1943 Japan. It has a very hard-boiled detective vibe to it. It's a lot more violent than Yakuza, like a lot more blood, and it looks like this guy does not look like he pulls his punches like Kiryu does. Let's put it that way. The aesthetics are gorgeous. It sounds like it has an amazing soundtrack. I was watching this and I was so into it. I was like, yep, I want this so bad. I'm so excited about this.
You want to play an RGG game, Jono?
I imagine that. But actually, to be honest, looking at it,
no, I agree.
it looks better than any RGG game I can think of.
Oh yeah,
like
just like sort of that sort of like neon infused a little bit, like the water effects and the lighting on that. Like it really was a beautiful looking trailer.
Like, do we have confirmation what engine this is running on? Because it does not look like Dragon. It looks like Unreal 5.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, because it doesn't look like Yakuza usually looks, which is, good, but kind of workmanlike almost. But whereas this looks like holy crap, this thing's gorgeous.
Yeah. Was it the Game Awards when they showed it as Project Century? I don't feel like it was that long ago, but
it was, and it was also set in I think it was the 1919 or 1910 or something like that. So they jumped it forward.
Oh, I mean, when they showed it the first time, I was impressed just because the visuals were so different from what we're used to. But the difference in just quality and detail and everything, the effects between December and now is really impressive. I think it looks fantastic. And I love seeing just something maybe new, whether it's in the same universe or not. What they're doing here looks very different from what they usually do, even though what they usually do is fantastic anyway. I'm really excited to see what they do with it, especially is it like time travel? Like the guy with the glowing eyes? I don't know. There's a component to it we don't get in their other games, so I'm excited to see what that is.
You're right, and the fact that the previous one said it was set in the 1910s makes me wonder if actually there could be a kind of time travel component or something like that, because that's a real big change in concept, which requires a lot of assets that they would just have to throw out. That's a 30-year time difference. So maybe it's taking place in two different time periods. Like it's telling a story between the two. Possibility.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think that that gets to one of the things I was most impressed by, which is that almost everything that Like a Dragon has done has been the same assets or like building upon those assets. And it looks like this is not that at all, which, I think is going to be a nice change. I haven't played as many as you have, Jono, but I've played a lot of RPG games, and I'm excited to explore something new.
I really hope this is not Kiryu's great grandfather or something like that. Like I would very much like if there was like no Kiryu, and maybe there was like one or two almost Easter egg characters that are descendants of Yakuza characters, but I would really like an entirely original cast here that's set in the same world. That would be nice. It would be nice for a number of reasons, at least, which is then they would be able to take it in other directions without directly connecting it to Like a Dragon.
Yeah.
Yep.
All bets are off if we see a diaper fetish quest.
You mean all bets are on?
All bets are on.
It's still RGG. There will definitely be a diaper fetish quest. In the trailer, when I'm assuming he's American's like, you're a Jap, and it's like, yeah, he's in 1943 Japan. What are you doing here? It's 1943. Okay, well, let's move on to another highly anticipated game, and actually one of my most anticipated games, which is Mina the Hollower. So this is releasing this year, thank God. It's going to be released at the very end of October 31st, Halloween. And it is from the same Yacht Club Games, same developer as Shovel Knight, and they are digging into the retro 8-bit well again, but this time they're going after, honestly, they're going after Link's Awakening.
Totally.
It looks like a Game Boy Color game.
It's so cool to see HD, quote unquote, Game Boy Color screens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When they're wide like that.
I've heard I haven't played, there's a demo available that I'm going to play, but I've heard it's just fantastic. I hear it's really good.
It'd be so cool to have that kind of Link's Awakening experience, but on modern and more responsive controls, I think would be just so good. Yeah, I'd like to see it too. It totally caught my eye.
Yeah, especially if they lean a little more into action RPG than just like old school Adventure Zelda. It took me way too long to finish Shovel Knight. I actually finished it for the first time last year because I started to play through years ago, but weirdly enough, don't keep my Wii U hooked up, which is where I bought the game.
That's
so
strange.
I find out weird. I finally rebought it and finished it, and like it's so good. Like I've experienced enough of them with Shovel Knight that I have complete faith in them doing a different style of retro game. So really cool to see it.
I love Yacht Club Games, but I feel like Shovel Knight has literally just been it's been a ball and chain for them because they've made so many promises with the Kickstarter that they've been fulfilling. They essentially made 3 full other sequels to Shovel Knight with completely different mechanics from your protagonist. And all of them are awesome, but like that was free. Like that comes with Shovel Knight. So I'm glad that they are finally moving forward with something, and hopefully we'll never make that same mistake again.
I'm sure they're glad too.
Yeah. Not that I minded getting all that free content, but like,
yeah,
I kind of feel like it would have restricted their creativity a little bit.
I feel like that's kind of the name of the game of like a lot of the games we saw right now. Like you said before the show, or it's like how many games with like sci-fi space helmets? Yeah, which was just a little strange.
Talking about every year we look back 4 years and we see like what was popular when. I'm actually kind of glad that we've moved. I know Kickstarters are still a thing and they are still super useful, but we are kind of past the point where there would be a Kickstarter and all of the stretch goals would be like promising the moon to everybody.
Yep.
And then they would reach those stretch goals and it'd be like, all right, we're not going to see this game for 9 years.
It's also the biggest problem with the Eden Chronicles that they had too many stretch goals and it watered that game all the way down. So I agree. People
seem to be learning their lesson, which is just like, okay, here's the game. We'll give you some modest stretch goals, but just give us money if you want the game. Not like
Silksong was a stretch goal.
Was it really?
It was, yeah. A DLC featuring Hornet was a stretch goal. Beautiful. So everybody who originally, it gave them the $16,000 to make Hollow Knight will get Silksong for free.
Oh.
To be fair, folks, they have stretched it quite a ways.
That's true. That's true.
Oh God. Yeah, I adore the fact that everyone was just like, maybe we'll finally get some Shovel Knight. And not Shovel Knight, we got some Hollow Knight. And we did, but they did it in such a way, they're like, it's going to be released with the Xbox handheld. It's releasing in December. You're going to be able to play it on it.
I know some people are tired of Deadpool, but I actually thought that whole thing was funny. Like, I don't care about the game, but like when he's like, no, you're not showing that Silk Song trailer. You're going to do my thing. I thought it was funny.
I thought it was funny.
I liked it. And it never crossed my mind that Neil Patrick Harris could be a good Deadpool voice. I'm like, oh no, that
I
works.
didn't even recognize it was him. Yeah,
I didn't either. Someone pointed it out. Yeah.
Have you guys seen the Ryan Reynolds commercial for it? It's him sitting with a lab coat on at a computer from the 1980s, typing on it and saying his thoughts about not being cast in this game.
That's fantastic.
Oh my God. Okay, I gotta watch that.
Yeah, me too.
It's very, very funny. And we actually got more new IP. I love when we get new IP. It's so exciting because you're like, ooh, this might be 9 sequels in the future. But this one will be original. Toa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree. So this is a 2D isometric action adventure with roguelike mechanics because, of course, it has a hand-drawn visual style. And yeah, I love it. I think it looks so good.
Can we time capsule this podcast for 10 years in the future and see which ones become a franchise?
Oh, God. I can see. I mean, Toa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree. You can see Toa and the blank as like all of the sequels.
Oh, yeah. And an animated spinoff.
And an animated spinoff, yeah, because it does have that visual style that would be very, very friendly to an animated spinoff.
Did you see that news from the Fuga people who are like, there's a lot of furries out there and they actually buy games, so you should actually make games for them because they are very, very dedicated to buying these. So
it is a thirsty market in a variety of different ways.
I hate that I don't even mean it in a gross way, but like a lot of furry content is actually very good.
I'm not making fun of furries.
A lot of people do, though. It's kind of annoying. Yeah, it always seems to jump to that. I've been on the socials. I see it like all the time.
It's not my thing, but like it's a fairly It's a fairly like not even really that weird extension of cosplay.
It's completely innocuous.
Yeah.
People need people alone.
Yeah. Also, I didn't see really a lot of people talking about it, but it's developed by Brownies, who most recently did a bunch of versions of Egglia, but of course that was spun off of Brownie Brown, who did Magical Vacation and a lot of like GBA RPGs. So that was not a name I expected to come up and see on a Bandai Namco game.
Mother 3 too.
Oh yeah, they like co-developed Mother 3, right?
I'm still surprised they did not announce Mother 3 for the Switch 2.
One of these years.
Are you surprised though?
Yeah, there's some content that is going to be tricky, I think, nowadays. But yeah,
I know. But honestly, I've made this joke on this before, but I think the funniest thing in the entire world is that they're doing it and someone does the snap and just Reggie appears looking confused as to why he's here.
I would love that.
I mean, that's the only way they could do it.
And they're just like, they just whisper in his ear. He's like, I can do it? Really? That'd be very funny.
Semi-related to like all the aesthetics, but like I'm hoping one day they also bring back all those Star Fox puppets and make like a Star Fox puppet aesthetic game.
That'd be amazing.
That's a puppet game.
That'd be a good way to That'd be a great way to take it, and also Jeff would be so into it. Like we make fun of furries. How about Jeff and puppets? Because he came out loud and proud with this one and this one. What? You guys know I have a thing for puppets.
It was the way he phrased that. I was like, hold on, wait a minute, do we?
And how do you mean said that?
Yeah.
Wait, do you have a thing for puppets, or do you have a thing for puppets? I just want to mention 2 games real quick. There were a lot of other games in the Summer Games Fest, but like none that I really give a crap about, except for 2. Sonic Racing Crossworlds was announced, and the reason why we're mentioning it here is because we got guest characters, including Ichiban and Joker, which made me very, very happy.
The friggin' Joker mobile was so funny looking and cool.
And the best thing, Ichiban has go-kart experience.
It's so true. Yeah.
Yes.
He has go-karting experience.
And biking. He can bike very good. They should just put him on a bike while everyone's in a car. He can still keep up.
I still very much enjoy that there's just like in Ichiban's games, there's just an entire Mario Kart game thrown into it for no reason. It's amazing. And the other one I wanted to mention, just because I'm Canadian, is Scott Pilgrim EX, which is a follow-up to the... Yeah, it's a classic follow-up to the 2D side scroller. I was not expecting to get more. I was not expecting to get any Scott Pilgrim content in the future.
You fight robots, demons, and vegans.
Yeah. And there's like a map of Toronto. When I looked at it, I was like, that map makes no sense at all. This is not how Toronto is. The beaches is not there. But who cares? It's a game set in Toronto. I'm in. And it's Canadian. And it's going to have an amazing soundtrack again. So
yeah,
totally
Anamanaguchi's back. That's good local talent.
It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah. So that was Summer Games Fest. But Summer Game Fest was followed up immediately by Day of the Devs. Day of the Devs actually might be my favorite show every year, possibly because I'm just such a big Tim Schafer fan and the folks from Double Fine, because I adore the Double Fine documentaries, and seeing them all is like, oh, old friends, which is great. And they always do a really good job of like highlighting these indie games in a way that feels very not second stringers, if that makes sense. Like they feel like this is a big show.
Yeah.
I like the way you put that, actually, because you definitely get that vibe sometimes with how some of the things are headlined.
Yeah. Or in other shows.
I appreciate that.
And sometimes in other shows they talk a lot about indie games, but then show things that are technically indie, but not exactly not what you're thinking of. Not the like someone in their garage indie. So I like that there's a big showcase for that too here.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, for anyone listening, there's a reason why I'm not really mentioning release dates, and that's because almost every single one is 2026. I made a joke earlier today that actually wasn't a joke, which is I think developers and publishers learned the wrong lessons from Cyberpunk 2077, and now they're hedging their bets so much that we're like just not getting a release window until just before.
Yeah, like weeks before.
Yeah. Which fair enough, but it does leave you kind of like on hanging. There's nothing really to look forward to because you don't really know when stuff is going to be coming to you. It's kind of hard to plan out your year in terms of, I'm going to play this here, I'm going to play this here. But yeah, so basically almost every single thing. I've made very few review cards. The fewest review cards I've ever made for a Not-E3 in this E3, because it's just like, well, what's the point of putting down a 2026 that's probably going to turn into a 2027?
Yeah.
Anyway, so Day of the Devs. Let's talk about it. First game, again, Canadian, Drinkbox Studios. These are the folks that did Nobody Saves the World and Guacamelee. And I love these guys. They're so good. And this is called Blighted. So it's going to be an isometric Metroidvania that kind of looks a bit like Hades, but it's Metroidvania, not Hades. It's set in a Western kind of motif. I think it looks awesome. I'm so excited for this because Drinkbox always does a great job. So yeah,
I was definitely in it's a little too derivative camp, but it does look well made. And yeah, like you said, Drinkbox is a really good developer, so I'll have faith in that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good that they're not. You look at it and you think Hades, but I think the fact that it's a Metroidvania, not a roguelike, is to its credit. It's not like they're not doing everything. They're not just trying to make their own Hades. So I think that's cool. I think it looks great. It's so colorful and just stylish. So really fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we'll be getting that at an unspecified time. Although there apparently will be a playable demo later. So, hopefully we get something this year. Let's continue moving on to Dos Divas, One Last Meal. So this is a real strange looking RPG, but it is like there's going to be a lot of cooking. Basically, it's food flavored. It's going to be a turn-based combat system with a lot of button timing kind of stuff. So, super popular nowadays. Really unique art style. I think this looks really cool, actually.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I love the idea of a food truck robot that you ride around in that you participate. I think it participates in battle. I don't know. It looks cool, and it's definitely. It's like, I mean, Outer Loop also did Thirsty Suitors, so I like that they're highlighting characters and a part of the world that a lot of games don't.
Completely, yeah.
I don't want to talk about Neil when he's not here, but like Neil was really excited about it. He's like, oh, like all this, like these Indian characters, like I get this, I can relate to this in a way that he says he usually can't in a lot of games. So, I'm excited for this one for a lot of reasons. And it's
such a fun mix of ideas too. Like it's really unlike anything out there.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm always in favor of that happening.
Following that up is a follow-up that I was not expecting because I didn't think it did well enough, but I'm actually not unhappy to see this here, which is Escape Academy 2 Back to School. So this got released in 2022.
It was one of those where I was like, what happened to Escape Academy 1?
Yeah. Jerry reviewed it, gave it a 74, which is not a bad score at all. And when I read about it, it was like, It's a first-person kind of escape room simulator game, and I was like, it doesn't seem like they're living up to the potential of that concept. This is a really neat idea, and it doesn't seem to be hitting me the right way. And apparently they've taken that to heart, and this is fully expanded. There's an open world now with like dozens of escape rooms. The entire campus functions as a giant interconnected puzzle, which signed me up.
Open world escape room. Everything open world. Mario Kart open world.
Everything has to be an open world now. That was the trend like 15 years ago, which apparently we're moving back into now, which is fine. I don't mind an open world.
No.
And I'm kind of excited for this game. I hope that it's better than the first one. Not that the first one was bad, but I hope it's like really, really good because it looks really cool.
You want games to get sequels, it's even if, especially if it was just an okay game before, the fact that it gets a sequel, you want to see what they learn because it's usually impressive.
You do. And that's the part of the problem in this business is that games that are really promising but don't quite live up to that potential, oftentimes their studios are, forced to fold. They have to because there's no financial way for them to remain open. So when they get a sequel to what was an okay game, you're like, oh, I wonder what they learned.
Right. In the showcase, I liked hearing from the devs about that and how like the things they're looking to expand on, and they want to add more. I don't remember if they specifically said there's quests, but I know there's more focus on like narrative and the characters, and so I think that'll add a lot to it that maybe the first one didn't have.
Mm-hmm. Moving on now to another sequel of a game that did okay. It wasn't like it didn't set the room on fire. I know that Greg reviewed it back in 2018 in the before times, and Greg really liked it. He gave it an 85. I've heard good things about it. So it's a sequel to Moonlighter, and it's kind of a dual dungeon crawler / shop simulator where you go out to a dungeon, you find stuff to sell in your shop, and then during the day you sell it in the shop, which is kind of a really neat idea for a gameplay loop. That was in 2D. This has made the jump to 3D, which looks pretty good. Sometimes when games do that, it doesn't quite work, but this one I think does. I think it's a really cool gameplay loop idea, and it sounds like they pulled it off in the first one, so I'm excited to see how they expanded in this one.
Yeah, I'm really impressed that they managed to switch it to 3D, but it really has that same feel. Like the characters, like it's a very natural transition. It doesn't look like you said, it doesn't feel like the same game anymore. So that's impressive.
And speaking of going off to your other job, to dungeon crawl, we're going to have to say goodbye to Zach right now because Zach, what are you doing?
I have Final Fantasy 14 raid. So bye, everybody.
Oh my gosh. That was something serious.
Look, I think that everyone listening to this is going to be like half of them are going to be nodding along and the other half are going to be like, oh God, do I have to listen to another pitch from Final Fantasy 14?
No pitches. I promise.
So yes, Zach will return at the end through the magic of editing for his outro. But thanks for joining us, Zach.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
All right. Now that Zach's abandoned us for something more fun. I'm kidding. We're going to talk about another game about someone who abandoned something. That was a terrible transition, but it's never way. So, Stardew Valley has a game where a young man is sick of his dead-end job and he decides to, no, it's a person, isn't it? That's gender neutral, or is it a guy? Actually, it's been so many years since
they
I played
don't
it.
specify. You just choose a look. It is male or female. You can choose that, but
yeah. So anyway, in that game, you decide to quit your dead end job to start a farm, and in this game, you also decide to quit your dead end job to live on a farm, and then you become the immortal herald of a dead god, which is what I think Stardew Valley is missing. So it's a farm sim, but with the usual fishing, farming, crafting, building relationships, and dating. But there is also RPG combat mechanics against monsters and eldritch creatures. So that's kind of cool. It has music from Hyper Light Drifter's composer Disasterpiece, which is again kind of cool. So this looks like a farm sim for people who might not enjoy farm sims. So
yeah, really.
And Zach, if Zach was here, he'd say, oh, that does sound interesting, but he's not. So I'll say it for him.
I'm a little sad that before we got into the farm sims, I couldn't actually agree with Zach that like as much as I like farm sims, there sometimes are too many. But this is another one. It's like the Souls-like thing. Like if it's fine if everyone wants to make one, but do something unique with your own.
Yeah.
The style of this game and the visuals. I'm a little concerned the visuals are not contrasty enough for some people, but at least
it was pretty muted.
Maybe there's an option for that. But I love the style of it, the weird like color palettes kind of make it feel like a Game Boy Color or not even a Game Boy Color, like a Super Game Boy game where you can like just put weird your own palettes in the game. Really cool. And it's not, again, visually and some of the concepts behind it, not like everything else out there. So I'm looking forward to it.
I love the way this one looked. And the pixel graphics are done by the Celeste pixel artist, right?
Oh, is that this one? Yeah.
Yeah. And just like the animations are really smooth. It kind of gave me more Rune Factory vibes, just that like you kind of have the really action focused part and then the back home part. But yeah, no, I think it looked really, really cool. I absolutely want to give it a shot.
All I have to say about it is that I love Disaster Beast. I love the It Follows soundtrack. So I listen to all his stuff.
They're really good, yeah. I was so surprised to see them for Marcel the Shell with shoes on. That was that was a cool movie.
Okay, moving on to the next game of Day of the Devs that really caught my interest is Consume Me. So this is a little bit of a different, I guess it's a very different look for an RPG than we usually follow, but like it is an RPG. They specifically say it's an RPG. It's a life sim RPG about the trials of being a teenager, focused on Jenny, a young girl in her final year of high school, balancing just life, like balancing school, social life, diet, that kind of things. It explores themes about body image, disorder eating, has a very dark, humorous tone to it. It was a really nice, very personal trailer introduction by the devs.
Yeah, I think something came up. Like I missed part of this presentation, so I only saw like half of it. But the concept is really interesting, and I love the look of the game. So I at least can give you that much.
High school. High school is the real monster.
I loved high school.
Someone should make that into a TV show. Someone who's not Joss Whedon. Okay, let's take it. Okay, this is going to get me into trouble. Let me finish this sentence before anyone jumps on me about the Buffy remake and the Buffy like revival. I'm not sure that I want a Buffy revival without Joss Whedon, and I know that I don't want one with Joss Whedon. So
yeah, right.
It's like it's like without the person who created it, I think it's going to. I think it's going to be missing something, but I don't want him near it. If that makes sense.
It does, but I'm okay. I want to see how it is with Sarah running it, or more or less running it. I mean, if anyone's going to, like, I'd like to see that. And also, I don't know if any of it. Are we just talking about this in the show, or is this? Like,
yes, we're talking about this in the show. This is very much in the show.
Well, okay, then I'll say this too. I'm not. We don't need to get into it deeply, but one of the, for me, the real success of that show was, yes, the writing, the dialogue, and the characters. But he only wrote some of them.
I know.
I know you know that. I'm just saying, like, there's so many talented writers on that show. So, like, there's still potential. It's not all hinged on one person.
I agree with you, but I am desperately worried that it's going to end up being the West Wing seasons 5, 6, and 7.
Oh my gosh.
That's bad, right?
Well, not necessarily season 5 was. Season 6 and 7 are good, but like once Aaron Sorkin left, because it was Aaron Sorkin's, like it was his thing, it just wasn't the same show anymore. And it's going to be, I feel a little bit like that about the new version of Buffy. I am not dismissing it out of hand. I'm just saying that it was a very specific tone of writing, and say what else you will about him. Like, he was a brilliant, brilliant writer, and he created all of these characters with the actors, but that's like a 50-50 thing. So I'm concerned about where it's going. And yes, they have a brilliant writer there, but again, it's going to be a very different thing. And I'm not sure how that's going to play. I hope it works, because I really would like to get some more Buffy that's not problematic as fuck. Anyway, let's move on to.
Oh, no. You put it out there. Now I have to ask. I need the comparison. Those seasons of West Wing, where do they rank compared to season 9 of Scrubs? Because that had the same problem.
Season, if I had to rank them, I would say best season 7 of West Wing, season 6 of West Wing, season 9 of Scrubs, season 5 of West Wing.
Oh, okay. All right. So I expected Scrubs to be down near the bottom there.
It would be normally, except it's not good. It's very, very, very much not good. But is her name Carrie Bishie? Yeah, she played the new JD character Lucy in it. She's in Telling Lies. She's in Telling Lies, the follow up to Oh, cripes. What's the Sam Barlow's first game?
Oh,
The one with the police interview.
Her Story.
Her Story, yeah. It is the follow up to Her Story, and she's very good in it. But like, I just think she's awesome. I really, really enjoy her performances, and I thought she was really, really good as Lucy, creating a character that was very separate from JD, but also could still be relatable and interesting in a similar way. But the problem was the show was just garbage. It didn't work. I just really, really liked her.
Yeah.
Which is why it's not on the bottom of the pile. West Wing season 5 gets on the bottom of the pile. Continuing on to Day of the Dev. Sorry about that, everyone. I might cut some of that conversation, but some of it's going to remain in. We're going to talk about Off, which is a re-release of a classic indie RPG that it was an inspiration to Undertale, actually, another one besides Mother. Turn-based combat, puzzle solving, a very unsettling atmosphere. This re-release is going to be including new bosses and revamped content. I have never heard of this game, and I felt like an idiot when I was watching it. I was like, why have I never heard of this game before? It seems like something I should know about.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, I admit I hadn't really either until they announced that they were remastered. Fangamer, by the way, a video game like merch company, was going to be publishing this remaster. I didn't end up writing about it because we didn't have an appointment. Just to throw it out there, here's my opportunity, I guess. But I played it at PAX last month. Like no one knew it was going to be there. Like I even asked them, like, I didn't know this was going to be here because I guess they were listed as like a vendor on the PAX site. There was no mention of them being there also as a developer, technically. So it was a big surprise. So I waited in line, played the game. It's very cool. I mean, you can definitely see where some things in Undertale came from, but they like really like I forgot the name of it. I think it was the director I talked to there at Fangamer. And it's really an interesting thing because they started putting this together like early pandemic when they're like, they sell physical merch. They have a warehouse and mail room and all that. And they're like, well, we need to be able to do something because they didn't want to lay people off or whatever. So they're like, gave people the option to do things like learn programming and stuff. So this guy's like, okay, I'll just learn how to like do this. And that's how this game, it's a weird thing how it came to be.
No kidding.
But he was telling me how like the original game was built in RPG Maker and, some of there are gameplay elements that depend on like bugs in that engine. So doing this version, they had to like build it in a way to still do that, even though you're not exploiting these bugs anymore. You just have to like retain that experience. So it sounds like an interesting project. Yeah. They like really wanted to be true to the original, even though it was built in a different way.
I'm very excited for it. Like, cause I played it and it's actually like free. You can just like download it. And, I'm just really excited that it's back kind of like with, Lisa, like another Earthbound-ish. Like, game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't like Toby doing a few songs for it this time around too?
Oh, he's doing the whole soundtrack over because
that's
the
really cool.
Thing?
Yeah, the original composer won't like release.
Can you believe this lucky man? If he like doesn't have a career as a game designer, he can just fall back on music.
Yeah.
Like, gosh.
Yeah. I'm actually really excited for the dev because I mean, if this is free, I didn't know it was free. This has been a huge game that so many incredible people follow. And he's never really made money off it. So I'm kind of excited by the idea that this guy's going to hopefully make some money off this now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving on to Tome 2. So this is a direct sequel to the 2021 photography adventure game, Tome. It's a really interesting looking game. Tome was. That was an interesting sentence structure. I was writing a tome. Jesus. Jerry reviewed it and Jerry enjoyed it, gave it an 83. So again, this is the kind of thing that it's like, oh, Tome got a sequel. I wasn't expecting that. I wonder what they've learned. And I do wonder what they've learned because apparently the first one was really, really good and really interesting. So I'm hoping that this takes that and carries the ball forward.
It's really interesting. Like this is, I looked at the gameplay and screens of the second one. I'm like, oh yeah, I mean, it looks like the first one, but it actually doesn't. Looking at the two together, I'm like, no, they've really refined it. Like it's a lot more shades of gray, and like it feels like the same world, but
we upgraded our shades of gray.
They upgraded their shades of gray. I haven't finished the first one, but I have played it a bit, and it's just full of like really creative puzzle solving, and it's so charming. So I'm happy that they got to do another one.
I am too. And for some reason, when I hear the phrase upgraded shades of gray, I think of the the Blu-ray version of the worst episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation that has ever been made.
The Blu-ray version. Okay.
Yeah, the Blu-ray version, because the Blu-ray version of the TNG got completely remastered in 4K. It's gorgeous. Oh, it's so good. It's a gorgeous, terrible episode. And I'm going to mention one game that's not in our coverage just because it's special to me, which is please watch this artwork. So this is like a hidden object game, spot the difference kind of thing. And the thing about it is it's focusing entirely on the works of the American realist painter Edward Hopper, who happens to be my favorite artist of all time. For the painting everyone would know him from is Nighthawks, of the folks sitting in the diner at very late at night. But in my first year of university, I fell in love with the works of Edward Hopper, and me and 3 other folks, we ended up writing a short musical based on these paintings. So I have a real soft spot in my heart for this gentleman's work. So I'm really excited for this game.
I did like the picture for it, the sad clown lady.
Yeah, that's the girl. A Girl in the Automat is one of his most famous. His work is entirely focused on loneliness and isolation. There are so many brilliant photos. There's another one I love. I don't know if it's in this game or not, where it's just an usher in a movie theater, and clearly she's been there for like hours, and she is just like leaning up against the wall, exhausted, and there's no one in the theater, but she still needs to be there. It's an amazing painting. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that because I really love Edward Hopper, so I'd like to get some attention put on this game. Let's move on now to go ahead.
I just a little bit like I enjoyed like the presentation about it too, because they were talking about the artwork and like how they designed the puzzles and everything you do in the game, that you need to actually spend some time with the artwork so you can appreciate the details more. So they weren't just like, hey, let's like take this artwork and just make something out of it. Like they want you to like really look at it and think about it. So they obviously are big fans too. Yeah,
clearly. And this is a follow-up to another game, which was Please Don't Touch the Art, I think it was called. I've never played it. Yeah. So again, unexpected sequel, sort of. Let's move on to the Future Game Show. Honestly, after watching the Future Game Show, this was yesterday. This was the 7th. I was sitting there and I was like, oh my God, thank you. Can the cast of Critical Role just host all of these?
Yes, please.
Because Laura and Matt did a great job of moving things forward, in my opinion. I mean, they're engaging anyway, but like I thought the show actually had some momentum that the other shows did not.
They got that stage presence. I think they're, this isn't their first rodeo kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It felt like this thing
get that
moved.
idea.
It moved in a way the other ones didn't. I was like, oh God, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Critical Role, folks.
It moved and it moved you.
And there were also some games for us in this, some interesting games too. So I think the big one that I think was the first one they did was The Expanse: Osiris Reborn. So this is based on The Expanse, which is a classic sci-fi property that has a television show, novels. Like it's very well known. It's, to be honest, it's something I should know and I don't. And I feel like
I was going to say, I'm surprised you don't. Wow.
Yeah, I don't. It's a complete blind spot in my science fiction knowledge. And I'm like, that's weird. I should probably fill that in because it seems pretty important. Anyway, it's going to be an action role playing game developed by Owlcat Games, who have developed isometric RPGs like Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteousness. So like they know how to do it. And tell me if this sounds familiar. You are a captain who is leading a crew, commanding a ship, and navigating the solar system. And you create your own captain and you bring 2 companions with you into combat. And it's like a third-person game set in the future.
I mean, they were upfront about that. If you look at some of their comments in the announcement, they're like, yeah, it's like we love Mass Effect. And I know something is happening with actual Mass Effect one of these days, but it hasn't materialized yet. So I think this looks fantastic, and it's going to be, I think it's a really good thing for Mass Effect fans who want another game like that. Like the universe looks cool. I know it's very well regarded. I mean, The Expanse in general. So high hopes for that one.
I am too. I have high hopes too. I'm just glad that someone is making Mass Effect great again.
No,
I know. Oh, that guy was.
Oh my God, the stupid hat!
I can't tell whether.
Oh, geez, yes.
I've seen some stuff. I've seen some stuff online. I can't tell whether or not this guy is actually a political activist or whether or not he was like, this would just be a funny joke. Either way, that went over.
All
like
I'm going
a
to say,
lead
the
balloon.
one thing that should be ridiculed more than a gaming newbie is an edgelord. And that hat was edgelord.
I have to admit, the online reaction to that was incredibly negative for obvious reasons, because it should have been. But also, they were like, way to like miss your audience. And I'm like, well, he's not. Like, I'm sorry, but like the audience of people who wear MAGA hats also watch Summer Games Fest because they like video games, just not the same ones we do. Like, it went over like a lead balloon for me and us, but I'm like, it might have actually been a successful pitch to a very large section of the audience, which he was pitching directly to.
It's funny. I forgot what the game was. I just remember we were talking about it as the show went on, and someone was like, "Oh, if this is a sequel. Like, where did the first one? Like, there was a first one."
Is it that one that looked like Split Fiction in a way? It was just like that kind of, like, I don't know, just the cover of it looked kind of split in half or something like that. It looked weird.
I think even outside of his hat and his attitude, I don't have the patience for like we're going to redefine a genre because that's how good we are. I'm like, okay, but you didn't last time. So it's like, just make your game.
Oh, it was the most full of presentation of the weekend.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any denying that. Like, the guy, it was just insufferable. But I'm saying that it may have been insufferable to us, but it might have actually spoken to a certain segment of the market who was like, yeah, we're going to make FTS great again. Because those people watch these shows too. We just don't really see them because we're in our own particular gaming bubble. Well, let's move on now to Eric's Home or something, The Stolen Dream. This is actually releasing this year, a rare game that is releasing this year, July 15th, 2025. It's an isometric stealth game set in Eric's Home in the 1900s. It's a stealth puzzle game with strong emphasis on story. This was debatably in our coverage, but I looked at it and I was like, it looks real pretty. Like, there was something about the look of this game and the feel of the trailer where I was like, I think we should cover this. I think this is going to be kind of neat. I really like the look of it.
It looks great. I think I don't know when it was announced. I think we saw it at least last year too at one of the shows, and I was impressed then. So yeah, I think it's impressive looking. There's
something about a good art style that can sell a game to me more than anything else, more than concept, more than story. If it has an art style that hits me in the right way, I'm like, yeah, I'm in.
I love that you're saying that when like two people on our show right now are artists. Like, yes, we're like, I'm sure Steph is over there nodding with me.
Yeah, like I'm pandering to you completely. Pure pandering. That's what this show is. But yeah, it looks really cool. So I'm kind of excited about this. And it's coming out this year, which is like, oh my God, a game that's coming out this year. Amazing. I didn't know games were coming out this year. Speaking of games that aren't coming out this year or possibly ever, Titan's Quest 2. Okay, that's not fair. Early access is coming this summer, which I don't count, but that's just me. A lot of people love early access. I don't, but
no, yeah, I don't abide.
Well, yeah, I guess I don't always as a consumer, but I also have to admit that if someone has a good idea and they need the early access period to like continue funding, there's definitely value in it. So if it works for them, I think it might be a little better. So many people use the Kickstarter model as a way to, sometimes you go in there and like you're buying, it just feels like you're going to a shop, even though it's not what it's supposed to be. So like, at least with the early access model, it's a similar thing, but you are getting something up front and you can watch it evolve. So there is that.
And to be fair, in certain games, like actually Titan's Quest 2 as an action RPG or Hades, there is value in getting continuous feedback from your players to be able to refine the balance of the game.
Right.
In a way that would be very difficult to do with just your team. But I still don't like it. But this is a sequel to Titan's Quest, which I think is awesome. I remember playing this back in the day when I was like, ooh, I finished Diablo and I want more Diablo. And then I played this. I was like, yes, more Diablo. Thank you. It gave me exactly what I wanted. It was a pretty damn straight ahead Diablo clone set in a different place. And that was perfect. That was the follow-up I wanted. So I'm kind of excited to see where they take it, considering that Diablo has evolved into something very different, and many action RPGs have developed into something very different. So will this be a throwback? Will this pick up the torch and show the way forward? I don't know.
No, it looks promising. I mean, I feel like this was announced years ago at this point.
It was.
So I'm glad they're at the point where they can do an early access release.
Easy to forget just how long it takes to develop some of these things, man.
Oh, right.
And like we weep at how long it takes and like, oh, it's all forgotten, but like it just takes forever.
It does. And you have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. Like, they announce something, they're playing it, and maybe they run into a brick wall and they're like, oh my God, the game's it's not working. It's not fun. We have to restart this thing from scratch. You just don't know.
Well, hopefully not the case in this one or for this game.
Hopefully not. I agree. The next game is interesting to me. We didn't cover it. It's a follow-up to a game called Call of the Sea, which we did not cover, I don't think. It was a kind of borderline walking sim that started out as like a woman on like an abandoned island in the early 1900s, and it evolved from there. And it ended up in a place with Eldritch Horrors, which I was not expecting when I played it. I really liked it. I really, really enjoyed this game. It was not amazing. It was certainly not in my top like 5 games that I played that year. Maybe not even my top 10, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I thought it had some real potential to it that just wasn't fulfilled. And again, it's getting a sequel, so hopefully that potential gets fulfilled here. So it's Call of the Elder Gods.
After like Blueprints, like I discovered I have like a taste for these kinds of games. So yeah, I'm in.
Oh, are we going to talk about Blueprints here? Oh, I can do that. Yeah. Okay. So I missed Call of the Sea. I'm looking at it now. It is very cool looking. I love the art style. And obviously if you say the gameplay is good, that's encouraging. The new one looks fantastic. Like what a difference a few years of development makes.
I believe that's called a glow up.
It is a glow up. No, I mean, just the environments and the ambiance of everything, like that alone, like this is a world I want to explore. Just looking at those few screenshots.
Mm-hmm. I know that walking sims are on the bubble for us in terms of coverage. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And that's basically a call just between, well, us, frankly. But in this particular case, I thought that Call of the Sea, if I knew about it at the time, it came out in 2020, so I wasn't aware of anything at that time. But if I knew about it at that time, I probably would have pushed for coverage for it because I think it's really cool. So I'm going to push for coverage for this because I think it fits for us. Yeah,
I mean, if it has the narrative puzzle aspect like a Myst game, like that's works
right there. Yep. Yeah. The next game is. It's so funny. This is a game that theoretically would not be in our coverage if it was not for the subject matter, but the subject matter kind of pushes it directly into our sphere of influence, which it's called the Bureau of Fantastical and Arcane Affairs. And in it, you're basically playing a bureaucrat who has to go around as a quote unquote quest inspector to ensure that everything is up to code before the hero's story begins. So it looks like it's going to be a deconstruction of a lot of RPG tropes. Which I think will be hilarious, hopefully. It looks really funny. It looks like comedic games are tricky, and I think this one actually might be funny.
The art style is very cute.
Yeah.
I mean, I might as well just say this now as we're in this section. Like, I have not caught up on the Future Game Show yet, so I actually missed this one. This looks like a lot of fun. Yeah. What a great concept.
Yep. This is a case where the concept sells it for me.
I see what you mean, though. Like, it's actually, like, I don't think we have it on the list, so I'll just mention it quickly here. But one of the things in, I think it was Wholesome Games, I think it showed up in a couple of the showcases, is Let's Build a Dungeon. Also, not actually an RPG. Like, it's a sim game of you, like, building a game, and, like, you have to do, like, the marketing, and, like, there's a virtual, like, Windows 98 style desktop. But, like, you can also, design characters and all this. And it's one of those things, like, it's just RPG adjacent enough, and you're looking at it through a different lens that, like, I don't know, the one you mentioned, like, reminds me of that one too. So
I love computer UIs inside of a video game. It's like stripped down and half-assed, but I still like it so much anyways.
Yeah.
Like that whole aspect of .hack when you do that, when you're on the desktop, is just fun to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I even saw that, what is it, Neverway had that too? Like, you're actually on the computer for a bit checking emails and stuff. Like, I love it.
I know what you mean, though. It's like, what's the other game? I think it's called, I can't find it. There's a, let's call it a legally distinct Zelda dungeon builder that's coming out. And it's like...
Oh, yeah. Like, is it Dungeon Master or something?
I think it's something
Dungeon
like that.
Master.
And it looks really good. I looked at it and I was like, oh yeah, this is what we wanted from that Link's Awakening stupid minigame that was tedious.
I didn't even do it at all. I heard it was terrible and I just ignored it completely.
That was just bad. But like, this is kind of what we wanted from it. And it's like, all right, that's technically not in our coverage, but like sort of kind of is. Anyway, let's pivot to the last game that we're talking about from the Future Game Show, which is very much in our coverage, which is Sacrifier. So we've been hearing a lot about this game for the last couple of years. Looks fantastic. Retro style pixel art with 3D graphics, which, very popular style, legally distinct HD 2D. and it looks really good. It has an interesting combat system, and it's like a merging of real-time and turn-based. I think it looks neat. And we finally got a release window for it, which is apparently going to be first quarter 2026.
That one's been being worked on for quite a while, so it's good to see they got an end goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, having even a release window is impressive for that game, because I feel like it really shows up in so many of these showcases, and I'm excited for it. I think it looks great, but it shows up in so many of these things, and it doesn't seem like there's progress, or at least we haven't seen it. Like multiple showcases I've looked at it, I'm like, oh, well, this is the same trailer. So like, I want to see what they've been working on and I want to see more of it. So I'm glad it's actually progressing, because it looks really neat.
It could be good. We hope it's good. We always hope it's good. Like I very rarely ever hope that a game is bad. Why would I?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
Right.
There are too many
Something's
games
good, we
out
all
there.
win.
Exactly. Like whenever I sit down with a game as a reviewer, I'm never like, I'm going to tear this to shreds. I'm always like, come on, give me something good. I don't want to rag on this game. It's terrible, but I don't want to be mean to it. It just feels like bullying at that point. So we always hope for the best here.
Wait, you say all that, and yet I don't see the Fallout 76 fishing update in our next segment.
Ooh.
All right, you want to do this? I'll have... Okay, we're... All right.
This is a really good visual gag for an audio show.
Yes. I'm so angry I can't even type it.
The typing sound you hear is about... Okay,
there we go. Okay, so our next game is going to be... We're going to be talking about Xbox, and we're going to be talking about the Xbox and Outer Worlds presentation. The first game we're going to be talking about is Fallout 76 and fishing.
Woo!
So yeah, Fallout 76. The thing it was missing, it turns out it was a fishing mini game. Yeah. I don't think that I would not want to eat those fish. I'm just going to say I would not want to eat those fish.
All three eyes? Come on, that's where the taste is.
We didn't actually have to talk about it. I appreciate you humoring me. The funny thing is, their little presentation I thought was funny.
It was cute.
It was a cute little thing, but I'm like, okay, I guess we're putting fishing in now.
Yep. I'm still suspecting that we are going to get something significant involving Fallout before the release of Season 2 at the end of this year, I think.
I think we'd have to, right? Like, they need
but then again, what can they release? Like, the only thing I can think they can release would be a remaster of Fallout 3, and they just released Oblivion, so that would be pretty tight together for two remasters. But we'll see. Okay, we're done talking about that. But let's talk about something that also is Fallout related, which is The Outer Worlds 2.
This looks so good.
I know. So October 29th, 2025, one of the other few games that we have release dates for. And I am so excited about this game. I really, really enjoyed The Outer Worlds 1. I know that it got mixed reception. Back then, it was called a AA game because it was being produced through Obsidian, but it was also like slightly low budget for them as compared to like a full, AAA. But they got the AAA budget on this one, that's for sure. So they're basically expanding everything that we had in The Outer Worlds, which was a critique and parody of, it was a satire of capitalism, essentially. And the governance in this outer space colony was entirely based around these major corporations and the products that they sell. And if you were governed by one of these organizations, your way of life was deeply influenced by the ethos of that corporation, which really interesting idea. And so room for some very good satire there. It's so funny. They say the game basically borrowed from Fallout New Vegas's perk system. And I'm like, it's basically borrowing Fallout New Vegas and on a whole, and there's a reason for that. Like the people who made this also made, were very much involved in the making of New Vegas, which was also made by Obsidian.
I really like how they adapted like a futuristic Art Nouveau style. That looked really pretty. Yeah, the aesthetic was just crazy everywhere.
Like in the
first
lighting's
one, for
really
sure.
Good.
Yeah, the first one already had this, and this one's just taking it even further. It looks pretty beautiful.
Like what Jono said was great. Like it's definitely a much larger budget than the first game.
Yeah,
but it's just so, I love just looking at it.
We seem to have like Futurama's mom kind of doing an aunt thing, like an evil aunt thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
That was pretty cool. And I like this, that you could choose the flaws. I did not notice that.
Oh, the flaw system in the first game was hilarious, but the bad knees flaw is hilarious.
That's so gross. Oh
Did
my
it do
God, I know people who
anything?
have that. It's so dirty.
Oh yeah, it does. The bad knees flaw is you can move faster when crouched, but when you stand up, everyone is alerted around you that you stood up.
Oh, because of the sound. Oh
Because
my
of the
god,
sound of your knees popping.
That's so funny.
that's so funny.
So it's like you're better at stealth unless, and there are going to be the usual perks like assassin and things like that. It's really right now we're playing New Vegas for Retro Encounter. The first episode's actually out by now, and I'm loving playing it. Although to be completely honest, I've decided to play pretty much entirely mods, fan made content because I've played New Vegas
Why
so many
not?
times.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to play what I hope is the first Outer Worlds felt like New Vegas, Diet New Vegas, which is not a bad thing because New Vegas is so good. I'm kind of hoping that Outer Worlds 2 is an evolution of where New Vegas was. And it looks good. It looks like it might just do that.
I think so. And it has release date.
I
And
have
it's
faith.
this year.
That's huge. To be honest,
This year has been nuts for Obsidian. They had Avowed, they have this, and they also have another game coming out, Grounded 2, which is a sequel to basically Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the game that released a few years ago. So like massive year for them. So after this year, we're probably not going to hear from them until like 2029.
I completely like underestimated the size of Obsidian because I was like, I thought they were like a somewhat small studio, but no, they have 3 games coming out. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I guess that Microsoft money, hey?
Right.
Doesn't
Briefly, we're way past the segment now, but it took me this long to find it. Questmaster was that Zelda-style dungeon building game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just if you want to look it up, it does look great, but unfortunately, I always forget the name of it.
You said Dungeon Master. I was like, you played the SNES game too?
Oh, okay. Incidentally, the Xbox showcase was pretty good, actually. I liked it.
I loved it. Yeah, I was surprised. There's like at least 5 games I seem pretty much slotted into getting.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was a really, really good way to end Summer Games Fest. Unfortunately, PC Gaming Show happened right after it. So I hate being mean to PC Gaming Show, but by the time it's on, I'm like, oh yeah, a 3-hour show of trailers is exactly what I want at the end of the week.
Just a few too many skits in between that just go on a few seconds too long.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
I still love Frankie though. Frankie's always a highlight of that thing for me.
For sure.
Yeah.
A game that I don't think is going to be in our coverage, we'll have to see when more comes out, is Keeper, which is a new game from Double Fine. And it is
What a strange idea. It's like the Howl's Moving Castle of lighthouses.
Yeah, you play a sentient lighthouse that's like moving around and doing stuff, which is such an interesting idea. And Double Fine, their creativity knows no bounds. So I'm kind of excited to see what this is because I don't know.
No, I have no idea. But I can't think of
I
any
didn't even
other
know what to
game where
think.
I can't think of any other game where you are a playable lighthouse. I'm pretty sure that hasn't happened yet. So really cool concept.
Another cool concept that we're finally getting more information on is Clockwork Revolution. Now, I remember when we first saw footage of this, and everyone lost their minds because they all thought it was a new BioShock.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. But that's not necessarily...
That's okay.
It's fine. It's okay. Also, it's in our coverage, which is crazy. So this is a very Clockwork Revolution, steampunky gears, lots of gears everywhere, robots, things like that. And then they also shoved this massive time travel mechanic in it where you're traveling back in time and changing history. And there's a lot here. Like there's way more here than I thought. And I'm like, I'm a little worried the story and the aesthetics and the overall feel are getting a little cluttered.
Yeah.
But it looks real good.
Once you said that while we were watching the trailer, I'm like, at the first like half of the trailer, it's like, okay, this game looks great. Like I love that hardware is at the point now where you can really, really get like these detailed steampunk like aesthetics, which is awesome. But then they kept adding more, and they're like, oh, also you can travel through time, and then also this, and then this, and I'm like, ooh, it's so ambitious, and if they can pull it off, then that's great. So it makes me a little nervous, but I hope they can do it.
You know what makes me nervous about it? I'm a little worried that, much like the inspiration for the game, they're going to do a BioShock Infinite, because spoilers to anyone who hasn't played BioShock Infinite, which is very old by now. For the first part of the game, you're wandering around Columbia, and you're getting like super invested in this Columbia and the people of this Columbia and the struggle of this Columbia. And then about midway through the game, Elizabeth pulls you through a rift into a completely different Columbia in an alternate reality. And it's like all of the momentum that you were building from the story in the first half of it just comes to a dead stop. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I guess we're doing a new thing now. And I'm a little worried that's going to happen here too. Like you're going to be playing the game, you're invested in it. This is a really cool game taking place in a gear-related world. And then all of a sudden you're doing something else. I don't know. But it was a problem. It was a big problem with Infinite. So we'll see.
It's so funny. I try so hard to not be spoiled on things, and I don't care about. I don't have BioShock Infinite on my 2 playlist, even though I like the first game. I'm shocked that I never heard about that. I did not know that was the big thing with Infinite and why people have the issue with it. But that's a risk. I mean, if that doesn't mean it's going to happen here, but
no, it doesn't.
To do that and like really, it's like I guess it's like, oh, look at this twist. But like if it pulls you out of like the characters and world you're invested in, I don't know. That's risky.
It could be, or it could be perfect. Like the way these things are cut together, like the first half of this trailer could be the first 10 minutes of the game, and the rest of it could be time travel. So we don't know. And we probably won't know for the foreseeable. Yeah, we won't know for the foreseeable future because, like everything else, it doesn't really have a release. I mean, this thing doesn't even have 2026 after it. So I suspect we'll get this. We'll probably see a release date next Not-E3, and then we'll get it in 2027, probably.
Maybe. I mean, it could be next year. Like, I appreciate if they don't really know, like, if they don't want to throw out a date, that's fine. Because people really, it sometimes just like, hey, we're aiming for next year becomes hey, you promised that you were going to do this. And like, I understand if they don't want to even give a vague timeline. So.
We've seen so many delays lately that it's just kind of like, stop doing it. If you don't know, then don't promise.
But I guess that's the other side of it. Like everything gets delayed and all this is hard work. So maybe we should also just understand like, well, whatever. Like if it has to be delayed, it has to be delayed. Like, aren't we all used to it by now?
Yeah.
I'm not bored. Like I have so much to play between then and now. So I love when they delay.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. When you're floating around in a freshwater pool, you're probably not desperate for a drink.
I like that.
Yeah.
So let's move on now.
Stealing that. It's mine now.
Absolutely feel free. I don't feel it was my best work, but it's all yours. So we're also going to do There Are No Ghosts at the Grand.
Oh, this looks so cool.
This looks great. Yeah.
What on earth? I was so excited about this one.
I looked at it and I was like, it's kind of like someone was, I don't know how to describe this because I still haven't played it, but based on what I've seen, it kind of looks a bit like the concept of Blueprints where you're like going through a house, but it's also with element of like a reverse power wash simulator where you're using your thing to like rebuild the house and like fix everything. And then it just took a really weird turn into like horror, and like this little English village has this secret. It looks real.
Then people start singing at you. I'm like, what is happening?
Numbers. Yeah.
Sing to me.
More games should sing at me. I genuinely believe that more games should sing at me.
Yeah. I know it's hard for us as a site that covers a specific subset of genres, and the genre question is a daily thing with us. Like, do we, don't we? But as a gamer, I like it when you have games like this and Blueprints and some others where like you can't really specify one or like three. Like once you add like, well, it has aspects of like 5 different genres, and like, well, it kind of doesn't mean anything. So like when you can't really pin down what it is, and like I think that's cool.
Yeah.
And based on what I just said, I'm assuming that you just kind of hope this is going to work as a backdoor to pull Power Wash Simulator into our coverage.
It already has. It has Final Fantasy.
I forgot.
But that's it. Only that one.
Only that one. Yeah.
If I wanted to write about the Warhammer DLC, I could, but I didn't like it that much. So
I found a way to write about Kirby. They had an RPG battle.
That's true.
You know,
Power Wash Simulator is confirmed, or the sequel is coming out this year. If they do more Final Fantasy DLC, I will write about it again.
Do they have like a Wash Your Magitech thing yet, or
no? I mean, you have
quickly. The Empire needs the Magitech.
I'd be happy.
It's like,
with
oh
it.
No, you're a Power Wash guy on the Empire side. That sucks.
I mean, that's what. Okay, like just briefly, you do that in the DLC for Final Fantasy VII. Like two of your jobs are for Shinra.
Mm-hmm. You're the ones with the money.
You clean up one of the cars in their building. You clean up the Scorpion mech. and you were talking to people from Shinra who are giving you the orders, like, yeah, we're going to do this, like, wipe out this resistance or whatever. And then the next mission, Tifa's talking to you because you have to clean Seventh Heaven. So you kind of, you sort of play both sides.
You're freelance. It's fine.
Yeah.
The Back to the Future DLC in that was amazing. It was so good to clean those.
So fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Cleaning the clock tower. And more importantly, actually getting a chance to explore a 3D version of the Clock House Square as it existed back then, because the version now is very different, but it's really, really neat. Okay, I'm gonna try to burn through as many of these as fast as we can because this episode is getting a little bit long. But the next one, biggest surprise of the show, Persona 4 Revival. Oh,
was it a surprise? Was it?
No, it wasn't, because there was a very big controversy where one of the old voice actors may have
taking it very well.
Yes, may have spoiled it release, but who cares? It's a Persona 4 remake, so that's awesome.
Look, it's not going to be a proper Atlas announcement if someone doesn't reveal it days ahead of time, because it's like every time now.
Every time.
Yeah, their operational security is not exactly fantastic. No, but like we didn't get very much about this. In fact, like we knew it was coming, and we got like the world's shortest trailer of just like a few glimpses.
That was weak, yeah.
But
it's going to be a TGS thing, isn't it?
You're probably right.
Gamescom. Yeah.
Or Gamescom. We'll get more from it, but like, it's the kind of thing like, okay, it exists, neat.
But it looks really early on. Like it doesn't look
for real
finished at all. So
it doesn't look that much better than actual Persona 4, to be honest.
No, but it looks neat. I mean, some of the scenes I thought like had some really nice lighting and atmosphere. Yeah. So, I know I've heard people talk about it too. It's like, well, maybe Atlas is leaking these things on purpose. But when you have things like the voice actors saying like, well, they didn't invite me back, like that's not good PR. So like that. If you still think that they're doing this on purpose, I'm pretty sure they did not tell these actors, oh, we're not going to hire you, and go ahead and tell people. That's not the way to do it.
No, it's not. That's not how you get good publicity. And any PR agent who is telling you so should probably be fired.
Yeah. Well, whenever it comes out, I'm looking forward to it. As much as we knew it was coming, I think it's good. Again, I've said this maybe on this podcast before, on some podcasts. Once they're done with this, 3, 4, and 5 have a consistent visual style. It looks great. You can keep porting those. That's fine. Go back and do 1 and 2, or at least do 2. Like
at least 2, yes.
Doing 2, both versions of 2, or both Persona 2 games in this style would be massive.
Huge, yeah.
I think that'd be awesome.
It'd be insane. I'd love them to do more from the ground up with Persona 1. Just kind of take a fresh take at it, like a proper remake.
I'd like to see 6.
Yeah,
that too. Some year, maybe.
Never
on this lifetime, boyo.
We're never going to get 6. I'm sure that it will get spoiled somehow.
The president will spoil it in the State of the Union
in 2032.
Right. I mean, how old is Persona 5 now? I don't even want to look it up. It is a little surprising there is no 6 yet.
A little bit, but they've been releasing Persona 5 for a couple of years now. So,
speaking of re-releases, we got more Final Fantasy VII for another system.
It's on Xbox X and S now. If you want to play it, you can play it.
See, I think this is like part of what Square Enix does, is they kind of release it per system, one at a time, so they can keep that advertising cycle going and going and going and going. And then we're going to get like Final Fantasy 1 through 6 HD 2D, and that's going to be another few years of PR cycles. And it's only going to release on Switch 2 first, and then it'll release on PlayStation, and then
just
PC.
A little exhausting, really.
I know.
Yeah.
But no, that's good news, though. More the better.
I mean, ultimately, like, it means by the end of the year, I mean, hopefully, we don't know about Switch 2, but theoretically, by the end of the year, FF7 Remake will be available on every console. Because obviously the Switch was never going to run
Part 3. Remake. I guess they're getting ready for Part 3 to release simultaneously. Let's hope.
Maybe, yeah.
That'd be nice.
That would be great. That'd be gravy, yeah.
In 2032 as well. I'm cynical about that. Speaking of things to be cynical about, Silksong. So I know the clown meme of him, the Hollow Knight, or not Hollow Knight, of the knight sitting on the bench wearing clown makeup, and the wig is it's a meme. It's a good meme actually, but at this point it's not funny anymore. They have been slow trickle of information over the last couple of months. Like we saw that it was going to be released at some point on the Switch 2, and now they said that Silksong will be playable when the ROG Xbox Ally X, the handheld Xbox, is going to be released by the end of the year. So you will be able to play it by then. They did not say it was going to be released with it. They said you will be playable. So essentially they gave us a finish line.
Semantics. Yeah.
It's a finish line, which means that it could release anytime from today until December 31st. I have a suspicion that it'll probably be in the next Nintendo Direct. I think that Nintendo would love to be the ones to announce this, and Hollow Knight did so well on the Nintendo Switch that it would be a smart plan to release it, to announce the date on a Direct, I think.
Very true. Yeah.
I'd believe it, since the first real anything we saw for the game this year was in the last Nintendo Direct.
That next Nintendo Direct's going to have to be huge, right?
Yeah.
I would suspect that they'll set up the rest of the year. I will be surprised. I have a suspicion that they're going to do what they did with the first one, and we're going to get a surprise announcement of like, I don't know, a Mario game for the end of the year, because they are still lacking a Mario game. Like I know that Mario Kart World is a big draw to many, but I don't think Donkey Kong's going to have quite the same impact as Odyssey did.
No. Maybe not Odyssey, but it looks like such a cool game.
It does. I'm not lying.
The Bonanza, is it? Yeah, and I love the new DK design too. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I think a new Mario game is needed, but also we can't underestimate or understate how many copies Mario Kart 8 has sold. So like launching with Mario Kart was a really good move for them.
I agree, but at the same time, Mario Kart 8's sales have been lifetime. It hasn't been like in one massive concentrated burst, which is why I'm thinking like, I wonder what it will be like as a launch title, and we're going to find out. Last but not least, this made me so tired. Call of Duty Black Ops 7. So the trailer opens and I'm like, oh, it's Starfield DLC. And then a guy who looks a hell of a lot like Alan Wake shows up, and I'm like, what's Alan Wake doing in the future? And then he touches a screen and it shatters and he's in a mindscape. And I say, holy crap, they're doing a science fiction version of Alan Wake. And then a guy with a beard shows up and it becomes Call of Duty Black Ops 7. And I got whiplash from that trailer. My God.
All of us had our own. You were thinking Alan Wake. Zach was watching and thinking, and I was agreeing with him. Like I saw some vehicles and some like holographic things. Like, oh, maybe this could be a Halo thing because, like, this is an Xbox show.
On Twitch, we thought it was a Kojima thing where they got like an actor to do a role.
Right. Could be Kojima. Yeah. I was also thinking someone else mentioned in Slack, like Deus Ex, kind of just aesthetically. They thought that might be where it was going. All these directions, and all of us were wrong.
I love when that happens.
And that takes us to the end of our Not-E3 weekend with the PC gaming show. And I have such mixed feelings about this show. I make fun of it. I don't think it deserves to be made fun of in terms of the actual production that goes into it, because the amount of money they must spend on this thing is nuts. But like, it's just its timing. At the end, you're just like, oh my God, a 3-hour show of nonstop just flood of trailers that they couldn't get anywhere else in the weekend, and it's just exhausting. And by the end of it, you never want to hear the word video game again. At least that's how I feel.
It's also tricky because there are some developers, and I get why they do it, because not everyone's going to watch all the shows, but there are some games and developers that appear at multiple shows. So like on top of this being really long, so many times we'll see games like, we saw this. Maybe it's a different presentation or a little bit different, but it's like you see what was the Metal Hellsinger a couple years ago, like the musical FPS, really cool, but it appeared consecutively multiple times over the weekend. And like, that's one of the things I think it makes this show feel way too long, because like we've seen so many of the things already.
Oh yeah.
And this just expands it.
But there was some good stuff there.
There was some good stuff, and we're going to skip through a lot of it because this episode is actually running a bit long. Like I always say this at the end of our Not-E3 episodes. So we're going to start with an interesting thing, which is Neverwinter Nights 2 Enhanced Edition is getting released. And these are interesting games because the Neverwinter Nights and Baldur's Gate and basically these D&D games have been getting enhanced editions for the last couple of years. I think this is the last one, isn't it? That can be remastered. I'm not sure.
I think so, because we got both Baldur's Gates Neverwinter Nights and Planescape. And I mean, you're putting me on the spot, so I don't know if you really wanted an answer, but yeah, this is, I think, definitely a missing piece of all that. So
yeah, so it's the usual: improved visuals, audio. You can actually play it on your hardware, which is great. It's going to have full mod support, which is amazing. All the expansions are going to be there. Basically, if you have ever wanted to play like the origins of computer RPGs and like where it all started out and play some amazing games, the enhanced editions of all of these games are really great places to go. And also, unlike everything else in the show, you're actually going to be able to play this. It comes out in July 15th.
And they took time to mention too, I don't know if the others do offhand, but I'm guessing they do because they're on consoles, that it also is going to have like full support for Steam Deck and controller. So it's
I'm pretty excited about this. I'm probably not going to play it because I haven't played the first one and it seems like a massive time dump that I just don't have time for, but excited that it exists. The game in this show that actually I was kind of super excited for is called Dispatch. It's it's going to be like a point and click choose your own adventure game style thing, and it's going to be you're put into the shoes of, you're going to be a dispatcher for superheroes. So the superheroes are going out to save the world or save the city or save the cat in a tree, and your job is you're directing them there. You're their dispatcher, and that's going to be awesome. That's a really, really funny concept, and I think there's so much to mine there. And it looks like the trailer is it might live up to that pitch.
I
do want to play this one. Yeah.
Yep. And it's from like people like the writers and directors of Tales from the Borderlands and Wolf Among Us, because
those are so good. Yeah, they're really good at that human dialogue and just making it punchy and fun.
Yeah, well, because they call it a superhero workplace comedy, and I think we said it somewhere earlier in the show. Like, comedy, it's so hard to do in games. Like, I don't make comedy games, but sometimes it just doesn't work. So, knowing some of the people behind this, and like that's really encouraging. And there's a demo.
But it's worth. Your blurbs are usually quite hilarious.
Yeah.
And what is this cast too? Like, look at this cast; it's crazy. Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad.
That's right. Yeah.
Aaron Paul, Jeffrey Wright, Laura, Matt, speaking of the future game show.
Uh-huh.
I wish that you did not mention Wolf Among Us, but okay. Because I just realized you said it and I was like, oh yeah, we didn't see anything about Wolf Among Us 2. Literally nothing.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Telltale is a zombie that will never die, but unfortunately I also think it'll never release another game. Let's wrap this up with the last game we're going to be talking about. And I'm excited about this because I thought this game was going to be the new permanent fixture on our most anticipated list, because it's been for a couple of years now, but I thought it's going to be at least 2 more years and we're going to put it on. But no, apparently it's coming out this summer, and it is Demon School.
Oh yeah, this will be great.
2D tactical RPG set in a school full of monsters, demons, zombies, and ghouls. There's karaoke romance. It sounds an awful lot like a throwback to another game. Yeah. So it's going to be, it looks really good. It looks really, really good.
This was another one, kind of like, that thing I mentioned hours ago on our podcast. Demon School also surprisingly showed up at PAX. So we played it a little bit this year, and, it feels great. I mean, it's been in development for a while. Whenever it comes out, I don't know, but like it feels like a finished game. At least what we played of it. There was a bunch of different demos. You could do a boss fight, but the battle system is really, really strategic. The dialogue is fun, and just planning out what you do in the battle and how you can like push enemies and stuff around and support each other. I think there's a lot to it that people are going to have fun with. I really, really want it to come out this summer. I will say, I mean, I don't want to dash anyone's hopes. It's had a release date before. It was supposed to come out they had a release date of, I think, September 13th or something. And then I think it was going to be Halloween-ish. I'm glad they're not putting another specific date on it until they have it. But yeah, I really wanted this to stick this time because it looks great. And it's doing something that, it's like we talked about earlier with Persona 2 and the older style SMT and Persona games. There's not a lot of people doing things like that now. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I have to admit that I'm a big proponent in the idea of whenever somebody delays a game, I am always like, you do that. Take your time, make the game as good as you possibly can. And I don't care when it comes out, take it and go off with it. But there does come a point where you're a little bit like, okay, are you even making the game? Are you like, where trust starts to erode a little bit, where it's not a matter of them taking the time. It's a matter of wondering if they're doing anything at all. Demon School reached that point with me last year. I am very, very glad that it apparently is coming out this year. I hope it does, because if it doesn't, I'm going to lose a lot of faith.
I don't know how big the team is, but I'm sure they are a very small team. I don't know what the math is. I think there's probably an equation you can make out of this. Like, at what point is it too much? I'm going to
one guy and 50 of his friends.
I'm going to mention one of my most anticipated indie games is Heartforth Alicia. Maybe the first thing I backed on Kickstarter in 2014. We are well past the point where it's taken too long. I understand that. It's not exactly one person, but it is a small team. And I did back it to get the game on the Wii U. And now we're on the Switch too. So at that point, I don't blame anyone for losing faith, except for the fact they do weekly dev streams. So it's still taking a long time, but there's no question that they're working on it. So it's so weird. I don't know. Every time I see an update, it looks better and better. But yeah, some of that stuff way too long. For me, because of this being a smaller game, it's not at that point yet. But I understand if it is for anyone else. Either way, I think it's going to be a good one.
So that brings us to the end of Summer Game Fest weekend, Not-E3. But before we go, I just wanted to ask our panel, minus Zach, we know what Zach's looking forward to. What
he
games
teleports in and out of the conversation thanks to the magic of editing.
What games are you most looking forward to that are announced or talked about, or we got some information on in this show?
Oh, shoot. No. I can't remember what it was called.
I'd say describe it, but at this point, all these games have just merged into one giant blob of a game in my brain, so I have no idea.
It was like a really hand-drawn looking game, an action, like, I think it was all platformer. Oh my god, I'm brain farting too.
Oh boy.
Hang on. I think I might know how to find it. At Fate's End, that's it.
At Fate's End. Okay, do you want to take that again?
Yes.
Yeah, from the makers of Spiritfarer. That game looked so good. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so that one and the boxing Muppet one.
Or the one that got Jeff excited.
Really cool.
In many ways, potentially.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about that, but yes, I am excited personally, not for that reason.
I 100% agree with you about that. I looked at it and I was like, Punch-Out with puppets? Absolutely. That's a brilliant concept.
It's like a little brash too, like the curse and stuff. So and like they admit the puppet is weak. So I think that's just such a funny setup. And it looks a bit like Punch-Out and you're like dodging sandwiches or something. Like it's so goofy. Yeah, I want that. And At Fate's End, which just looks so good.
I'm going to quickly add a +1 to At Fate's End. They are sort of describing it as having RPG elements. So as far as I'm concerned, we can cover it unless we know otherwise. I think it looks fantastic. I like the idea of, in the trailer, they showed a little bit like in the middle of battle, you have dialogue choices.
And you could do like dialogue choices during combat. That's
I'm like that.
So epic.
To briefly go back to Buffy, I do enjoy banter during fights, and you don't usually get to do that. Choose what you say in an action-based battle in a game. So I'm like, that's a cool idea. I like that. My only other one, and this is, I don't know that I would put this as like most anticipated, but it's something we didn't talk about, and it's stupidly cute. This was in Wholesome Direct, but there's a game called The Great Coffee Caper. They describe it as a cute and cozy RPG where you have to figure out who stole the town's coffee beans, and it's very like Game Boy.
I'm on the case.
Game Boy, like Link's Awakening kind of style, but it's not an adventure action game. It's a detective game.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Really, really cute.
I wish that we could have covered Wholesome Direct and Women-Led Games and a lot of the shows that took place on Saturday, because there was some really interesting stuff there, but like we would be here for 4 hours easily. Yeah. You'll hear more about some of those games in the future, I'm sure, from us. Gio, how about you?
Like a game that we didn't talk about that I was like really looking forward to is like this old PS1 game that just randomly got fan translated. Like they showed it during the Wholesome Games showcase. It was Milano's Odd Job Collection. It's like this
Yeah.
cute, cozy game about like doing a bunch of part-time jobs. And yeah, it's so cool. I'd never heard of it before they showed it. But it looks so cool. I really want to play it.
Neat.
Altogether, I thought it was a pretty good direct. I know it didn't like wow the pants off people, but like a lot of interesting separate titles. Like I think there was something for everybody there, really.
You want to know what, Steph? I think I alluded to this early on. I don't think it's that it didn't blow the pants off people. I think that people are at a point right now where they don't want to take their pants off. Like I know that sounded suggestive. It wasn't meant to be. I genuinely think a lot of people right now are just so tired that it's genuinely difficult to work up a lot of enthusiasm at this point in time. And since this was, even if everyone was in a good mood, this would not have been a memorable Not-E3 Summer Games Fest. It just wouldn't have been. There's some interesting games like Resident Evil 9 or RE9 got announced. That was weird, by the way. There were like 2 different Resident Evil trailers early on in Summer Game Fest, and everyone was like, no, I guess they're not going to do it. And then they did it as the last trailer. It's like, wow, that felt weird, guys.
Well, especially since the first one of them was like saying like, yeah, here I am. I'm going to talk about Resident Evil, but we don't have anything to show yet. So please just be patient. And I'm like, for like a
half hour. Patient for 1/2 hour and you get more. It was just weird. It was just a weird kind of thing. And I don't think it was a great E3. And I just don't think that people are really in the mood right now. In a weird way, it's actually kind of fortunate that it wasn't an amazing Not-E3 because if it was,
there's quite a few like just CG trailers too that that never works on me.
Yeah, they're promises, but promises with nothing behind them. Okay, well, if you want a promise that does have something behind it, I'm going to tell you about our shop at RPG Fan. You can go to find our shop at www.rpgfan.com/shop. We have lots of things in there. Mike, can we tease something that might be coming up or just say we have something neat coming up?
We can't because I don't have a timeline on it. But there's something I'm working on. So I guess there you go. So I guess we can tease it, but I can't say anything more yet.
There is something coming, but there's a lot of things that are already there, including like mugs. You can get all kinds of things, and you can find our collaboration with Hyperplay RPG, the RPG Fan review card collection. And that includes nearly 300 of our review cards, as you can see on Instagram, created by Steph.
Woo! Thank you.
And also the artwork on the front of that book is yours as well, and it is gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to do artwork for another one. I have a good idea for that one. But please support it. Yeah, support. It's like one of the few ways you could support us and you get something in return.
Yeah, something to think about. Another way you can support us is to check out our past episodes of Random Encounter. We've been off for a few weeks now, but our last episode was actually hosted by Zach, and it was a spoiler cast for one of the biggest games of 2025, Clear Obscure Expedition 33. It was an extra size episode because there was a lot to talk about there. And as I mentioned early on, we're going to have another episode coming up next week focused on the Switch 2. So stay tuned for that. Over at Retro Encounter last week, Zach, myself, and some other fine folks got together to chat about, like I said earlier, Fallout New Vegas. Having a real good time on this episode talking about this game. It's such a good game. And Audra and Zach are playing it for the first time. So it's really cool to hear their thoughts and feelings and about this, at this point, rather old game, but still doesn't feel old. Feels pretty new in many ways. We also have Rhythm Encounter, which is RPG Fan's music podcast. Mike, I believe our last episode was focused on RPG Fan title screen music.
Oh boy. Yeah. I'm afraid to look up when that was published. Someone actually asked in Discord today where Rhythm Encounter has been. And we've been off for a few weeks, mostly a lack of editing staff. But thanks to you, Jono, we have some episodes that we recorded over a month ago coming up. We do have a forest theme episode coming very soon. Not before this
that was
one.
A great episode.
Yeah.
The opening blooper of that episode is probably my favorite thing I have done in a long time. I am so happy with the opening blooper. It's amazing.
Thank you. Yes, I agree with that. So I'm hoping that'll be out this week. And then we did a mobile RPGs episode, music that's coming soon, and then some other stuff. But yeah, we're getting back on track. So thank you for your patience.
Cool. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can fire us off a message at our podcast at rpgfan.com. I would love to hear from you if you have any suggestions, ideas for future episodes, discussion questions, which obviously we didn't really do today because, my God, this episode is running so long. If you have anything for me directly, you can do so by sending it to my email, jlogan@rpgfan.com, and you can find me at Blue Sky at jonologan.bsky.social. I'm not the only person on here with a social media presence. Mike, where can we find you?
Oh, yeah. Too bad you mentioned social media. Actually, the best thing for me is email. If you want to reach me, you can do that at mike@rpgfan.com. If you want to talk to me about music or rhythm encounter stuff, that's music@rpgfan.com.
Cool. And Steph?
You can find me most places online as Dice SMS. Dice like playing dice, and SMS like the text. Yeah, follow me. I draw video game stuff. I work for video game stuff. And yeah, I'm your social person. So we can chat just about anywhere on socials.
Neat. And Gio?
Yeah, I'm mostly reachable by email, geo@rpgfan.com, and I'm also on the Discord as 10bstar, DENBI star.
And Zach, mysteriously back. Where can we find you?
You can email me, zachw@rpgfan.com, and I'm also on our Discord as ZachW.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your friends. Helps get the word out there. And you can also rate us on iTunes or your other podcast players of choice. I want to thank everyone on this podcast, except for Zach, because he's not here. I'll thank him privately later. Let me rephrase that.
Lovely.
I'll thank him privately later. Yes. So, Christ. I want to thank everyone here for joining me today because it's a long episode. It's been a long weekend. These are always rewarding but difficult. So thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. All of you spending your evening with me after this very long weekend.
Yeah. I mean, thank you for hosting and putting all this together.
The show notes were really useful.
Yeah, they always are for this kind of thing. And to everyone out there, there's been a lot announced. So I guess for the rest of the year, whatever you are playing, have fun.